look, we all know the generic advice of you got to work hard and you got to. You have to put in the work to get somewhere in life. You got to be able to do it, and you got to be willing to do it. But I think it's also important not to underestimate a clear mindset and a good mindset, and that includes getting enough sleep. Because whilst I believe when you need to work late and you need to work through the night, 100% do it. We've all done it, but make sure that you get enough sleep. Make sure that you have personal interests as well. Make sure that you consume books or literature or audio books or whatever, or even conversations with friends that teach you and that make you grow further and that push you out of your comfort zone. Because I think a balanced individual is worth double as much as an unbalanced individual that is just about working and just about, only working 16-hour days and so focused on work. I think we humans work better, work smarter rather than harder. It really is that, and I think your well-being is part of that.
Hey guys, and welcome back to Sessions, a video podcast brought to you by Pro Studio, where we discuss an entrepreneur's business life and while we edit some social media as well. So hey guys, welcome back to a brand new episode of Sessions. Today we are joined by Richard Steinbach, a consultant attorney / legal practitioner, but in our terms guys, just a very good lawyer. So if you need him, go and check out in the description down below his links. Everything is there. By the way, guys, I just want to give a quick shout out to Now Cluft Water for sponsoring this episode. Guys, thank you. With you, we are able to make these shows happen. Richard, good day.
How's it?
Hi. Let's get right away into it. I want to ask you actually just 10-15 minute questions about who are you, where did you start, how did you get into being an attorney? So give us a bit of your background on it.
There's some technical terms, but thanks, Manny. I graduated locally. I grew up in Namibia, windhoek, graduated from Delta Secondary School. I was one of those guys who very late in the year, we're writing our matric exams, and I realized every one of my friends is going to study. What am I going to do? And I kind of just missed the mark there. Yeah. And the first thing that popped to mind is I really enjoy business. I love networking with people. I like knowing what to do and to run a business. And I would love to have my own business one day. So I managed to get a spot with UNISA in South Africa, did a general BCom degree. Mm-hmm. After doing that for about a year, I realized economics is not so much my thing, but I enjoy the financial side of it, the strategy side of it, and funnily enough, the commercial law side of it. So the commercial law would be like your sale agreement, your lease agreements, everything that has to do with your business, sort of in that sense.
Did you already know in grade 12 that you wanted to go in this career, or was it just more something where you were also a bit unsure from grade 12? What direction should I go? Like you mentioned, now you have a lot of friends who said, okay, they want to be an entrepreneur, start their business. Yeah. So you were left still with the question, what do I do with my life? Was that part of it?
Definitely. I wasn't sure what I wanted to do, and I just kind of had this general idea that I want to be involved in business, but I didn't have any speciality in mind. I didn't think of a special engineering, or I didn't want to become like a civil engineer or an electrical engineer. I didn't have a specific passion. So the idea, it sounds strange, but I mean, you're 18 years old. You have no idea what you want to do. Now you need to decide what you want to do for the rest of your life. It's a difficult decision. So, so I thought, I didn't have the luxury of going for a gap year because my parents kind of came down hard on me. Get an education, you need to do something. And hence why I chose the BCom degree, because it is a Bachelor of Commerce. So it's a business degree. It's very wide. You can kind of tailor it in the fields that you are interested in. And that's why I mentioned I wasn't so interested in economics, which these days is actually a really good degree and a really good know-how to have. Yeah, but I was more interested in the business management side of things, the financial side of things, and then the commercial law side of things. After the first year, my highest marks were commercial law. So okay. Yeah. And I enjoyed knowing the rules of things. Because if you know the rules, you know how to bend them. You know where are you within a scope, what is correct, what is incorrect, and you can correct others. Because I was pretty much negotiating a new lease at the end of my first year. And because I had done... I think it's Mercantile Law 101 or something, and you talk about lease.
Your apartment?
Literally my apartment. So I had to negotiate my new lease agreement, and I was able to understand the contract. It wasn't just a blur of words on like 20-something pages.
Okay, yeah, that's exactly what I want to stop you quickly. I was that type of guy. I just like, okay, didn't read all of it, just sign, I'm good.
Yeah.
But I think you took this as a challenge and said, let me actually take on my landlord on this and bend it to my my will, maybe.
Correct.
But it's maybe that way you also got a bit of a spark and said, I'm in the right niche. This is the right thing to do.
Yeah, exactly. So it kind of gave me that spark, that idea, and I had a chat with my parents. I decided to still finish my BCom and specialize in law, because I didn't fully commit to being a lawyer yet. I still thought, okay, you know what? As a businessman, you need to know the rules within which you're operating. So this is valuable. I'm going to specialize in this, and then I'll figure out the business aspect at a later stage. 3 years down the line, still wasn't quite sure. And I realized that for anyone who's contemplating this, a BCom law degree is a full business or a Bachelor of Commerce degree, but it's only half a law degree. And I don't know if I'm pedantic or if a little mildly OCD, but it just kicked in and I just realized I don't want to have half a degree. What's that going to bring me?
Yeah, exactly.
So chatted to my parents, got some debt going with them, and
that's also another question I actually have: if you had help from home parents that helped you with your first years, or was there a side hustle of saying your parents said, no, listen, we'll just provide you with the flat money, but your university money and stuff, you have to hustle for it? Or was there anything sideline, or did you have the luck of having support from home?
Look, I think I was in a very fortunate position that my parents, I have 4 parents because my parents are divorced and remarried. So I kind of received support from all angles in that sense. But at the same time, my dad took out a student loan for me. He worked at the bank. And so ultimately, I had a lot of assistance from them. In between degrees, I had some side hustles, and I had, which we can talk about just now. And I did have some weekend jobs and stuff just to get that extra pocket money. But my parents helped me out a lot. And thanks to them, I'm here today. It's without a doubt. And I must, for instance, say if my step-parents, because I know a lot of step-parents get a lot of flack, but my step-parents have been extremely supportive. And without them, I wouldn't have been sitting here today being a lawyer or an attorney or a legal practitioner.
Yeah, there's all these terms for it. But tell us a bit further. So you went through university, finished. What happened after that? So once you had your degrees and...
So quickly, just between degrees, I worked for a price comparison website that was in Germany. Got some money through that.
Did you do that online or did you move?
Online. They have a bit of it's like a call center, but it's just an online center in Cape Town. We're cheap labor for them because we could speak German there.
Okay.
And
but you still had to go to an office and actually sit there and be there, kind of representing.
100%, yeah. And it was a nice sort of hourly rate job that gave me that extra pocket money and actually kept me afloat for quite a number of months where I could reduce, income from my parents and or pocket money that I needed or something like that. I then finished my LLB degree at Steinbach University, and whilst I was there, I also would do I would sell cooked mushrooms and stuff on weekends at market. I later upgraded to champagne.
Okay, interesting.
Because there was a local lady that did it as a hobby, and she needed someone to run her market, basically. So I started as sales and basically ran her stall for, I think, the greater part of 6 months. Yeah, and that was until I graduated. I won't lie, after I graduated, or just before I graduated, I needed to get into the job market. And I didn't have a bursary, so I wasn't forced to come back to Windhoek or Namibia in that sense. And I wanted to stay in Cape Town for personal reasons, girlfriend down there, you know how it is. You want
lifestyle.
To stay there.
And you obviously didn't want to come back right away, so you wanted to still explore the country and
100%,
stay there,
I mean, I know Windhoek, I know most people here, and I just wanted to learn and get some world views, if I can put it that way. And Cape Town had that multicultural world view that I really enjoyed about it. So... but Cape Town is a tough job market to get in. It's so saturated. Everyone in Joburg wants to work in Cape Town. The legal market itself because when you become a lawyer, you need to do 2 years of articles, which is like a practical type of work where you work under an attorney. and he has to sign off everything. You're not allowed to sign off anything, and you basically get guided and trained in the practical side of being a lawyer. And you have to complete that and write certain exams before you can be an attorney, and it's so difficult they call it articles, to get your articles, especially in Cape Town. So I was very fortunate. I found a boutique commercial law firm, which is, again, that focus on business and business law, essentially. And their whole motto was completely aligned with what my motto as being an attorney is, and that is that we should be a business's trusted advisor. I think an attorney, every business should have an attorney or a lawyer that they can call up, that they can ask for help, and where they can get that sort of guidance. And they kind of had the same motto. They were a small law firm, only about 3 directors, but they played in the market of competing with your large corporate law firms in South Africa at a much cheaper rate. And their motto was, we're like your in-house legal department. You come, you appoint us as attorneys, you call us day or night, we'll sort your problem out for you.
Tell me, how did you get into that? Was it just normal standard applying and they took you, or was it because your competition is quite tough in Cape Town? So
look, I sent out money, I think at least 20, 30 applications.
Yeah.
And by luck, a friend got a job as an au pair of one of the director's children. Mm-hmm. Because otherwise I wouldn't have known about this law firm. They're that tiny, and they were new. I think they were a year old.
Yeah.
So she kind of put out the feelers for me if they are recruiting and if I could send my CV through. And it just so happened that they needed someone. So I sent through my CV. Went for a grueling interview. I don't know, the poker faces in the interviews with attorneys are just next level, because they're so well taught in sitting in these negotiating meetings. You just can't read a single thing that they say. The one attorney, Anton was his name, I thought he absolutely hated me. I only found out years later he loved the interview and loved everything about me. So I can actually probably thank him for the job. So yeah, so it was an interview, and then a few weeks later I got the call. I think I was busy printing out some exam results, and I got the call and they told me, no, I've got a job. And it was actually a very fair salary, because
you're new to the game.
I'm new to the game, and it was quite fair. And I know some other guys were working for something that wouldn't even cover rent, just to do their articles, just to get that qualification after 2 years that they can qualify as an attorney.
But what I see here with you again is sometimes in life you're at the right time, at the right moment, you did the right moves, and it worked out.
Yeah. I think it comes down to a little bit of preparation, and like you say, being prepared that when the time comes, you're ready for it, you can deliver, and you secure it, and I was very fortunate that I was very ready. The stuff that we spoke about in my interview, like I mentioned, we had the same sort of goals and ideas in mind.
Same values and everything, So you kind of clicked already, or
exactly. There was good chemistry in the interview. And the other thing that they really enjoyed about me is I was pretty genuine about where I want to go with my career. I always had this commercial focus, this focus on business. Like, that's why I started my business degree first. And in the interview, I also spoke about a mini thesis that I wrote about the different types of directors in businesses and what the duty should be, etc. And they could just see in that, I think you can put it in a way there that they could see I found a passion here, and I was passionate about it, and I would deliver. So yeah.
Was it still always in your mindset that you still want to at one day open then either your own business or a practice? Or
yes, and so it still is.
Yeah, that's cool. That's why I'm inviting you. It's interesting to see your mindset about what you had to go through to still one day have this dream of having your own practice one day.
Yeah.
Tell us a bit further. What happened afterwards? Did you then work there for 1 or 2 years, 5, 10 years? I'm not sure. And then how did you actually end up being in Namibia at one point now?
Okay, so I did my 2 years of articles, and every attorney or most attorneys will tell you it's a grueling 2 years. I mean, you're starting at the bottom. You literally got to do everything that your bosses tell you, which certain nights meant photocopying 4,000 pages until like 11 o'clock at night.
We yesterday had someone here who has a copy business, so to say. You should have collected with him. But anyways,
I should have started a copying business.
Maybe it's good money in it.
Yeah, or paginating, dude. Paginating 3,000 page affidavits with annexes. You just write a page number on every page, and you do this for hours, but somebody has to do it. So I did that for my 2 years. And after 2 years, I wasn't sure if I'd be retained. You know you do good work, but there's always professional differences. It's a tough working in that kind of, because we're playing in the corporate world as a small boutique law firm. We had some tough times, So, and it was a new law firm. It was keeping its head above water. It started doing better towards the end, but I wasn't guaranteed a position essentially. But they made an offer to retain me. They retained me for a year, and then we became very fortunate that a large corporate law firm actually took a huge interest in us, and essentially we merged with them. So I spent about 3 years working in a large corporate law firm in Cape Town as well, which was an amazing experience. I mean, the training that they gave was phenomenal, because you have essentially it was an international firm. You have international training that is offered on all kinds of topics. And I loved their focus on actually thinking about more than just the law. So they would give a lot of resilience training, how to cope with stress, that sort of thing. And they would also think ahead towards the future, document automation, AI. Are attorneys going to be replaced by robots? If they are, what are we as a firm doing to cater for this? Because it is coming at some point. I really enjoyed it. We had a phenomenal working environment, met a lot of good colleagues, and ultimately there were some professional differences. And I think it was about 2.5, 3 years. And I realized I needed a personal and professional change. I realized that I was stagnating, which just happened for a couple of months. There were opportunities overseas perhaps, but they weren't sort of coming to fruition. So the time was right for me to make a change, and I decided to kind of go with my gut feel and make that change and come home a bit to Namibia. One of the personal reasons was my family is here, and I realized that I've got younger brothers, and they've been growing up without me, essentially there. You call them, you keep in touch over text, or while you're playing video games, you have a quick chat over the mic or whatever. But I just knew I need a couple of months back home in Namibia, and I decided to make the call.
Was it something where you decided to come fully back, or was it just, I'm going to go for a little while just to see how it is, and then make a decision? Was it instantly like, let's go home?
No, it was a bit unplanned. And again, this is... sometimes you need to listen to your gut, but you need to be prepared. So I kind of was prepared to come home and see what happens. And I was pursuing opportunities in Europe and looking at working there. And so the plan was actually to stay for 3 months in Namibia and then move on to Europe.
Yeah.
I must admit, I enjoyed those 3 months in windhoek so much. And within those 3 months, a friend who had I can call it a vested interest of me staying. He wanted me to stay, Mark. And he kind of said, no, Richard, I'm introducing you to this firm, Cronje & Co. And Christian Cronje, he's awesome. He's doing really great stuff. And it's interesting work, and you will love them. It's a young, dynamic firm. You will love them, okay? I couldn't say no to him because he already had sent out an email introducing us.
That's why you have friends. They just do it for you. Okay.
And what happened in those 3 months is I had to go through a psychometric test. He didn't even want to interview me first. He said, look, he's interested, but psychometric test. I did that. It seems to have gone well because he called me for an interview. And I had a sit-down with Christian and with another consultant attorney there, Heinrich. And I don't know if they're going to watch this, but Christian is good cop, Heinrich is bad cop, so they played that in the interview.
They might watch this, yeah. But
So we've got to be careful what we say. We had a discussion, and they said they'd be interested in hiring me, but they wouldn't offer me a full-time position, so it would be a consulting role. So essentially what that means is I'm my own business owner in that sense. I work for myself. And I sell my hours to them. So I still do everything a normal attorney would do. I bill like I normally would do. And then, and then they pay me based on that, right? So it's extremely flexible. If I don't work, I don't get paid. But it has other benefits that, like for instance, after my interview, I literally rushed out to go camping for about a week and a half, and they wanted me to start immediately. And they said, and you know, I couldn't do that, and they were fine with it, completely fine with it. So
I think that's also why I wanted to invite you. You're not just an employee at another attorney at another practice. You are also, in a way, your own entrepreneur, your own business owner right now. Even though you don't have an establishment, a building, whatever, offices, but you are like maybe home offices, yes.
Yeah.
But what I mean with what I see with us here as Pro Studio, we have to invest into a building, build it, and then we only had a little bit of an agency. Whereas I wish I could have actually just be a consultant for other agencies, which is maybe a model that will come. But in your regard, it's very interesting that these models are out there already. And basically, now your dream is coming a bit closer to being a business owner, but I fully, what I see in you, I don't think it's there yet. It will still go on for the next, I don't know how many years, but that you one day also are your own business owner where you can employ people or work with others, maybe even on a consultant basis.
Exactly. Yeah, so I think we've also previously discussed it. I believe in the consulting model. I believe in the idea, firstly, being a consultant, I kind of run my own business. Yeah, I have a contract that I won't work for another law firm, but that's because in law, you don't want conflicts of interest, and you got to be careful about that sort of thing, especially because you're a trusted advisor.
Exactly.
You need to make sure that you don't get into information, let's say, from the other side that might, or give information to another attorney by accident and might benefit somebody who's acting against your client. So you need to be quite careful with that sort of thing. And that's why my arrangement essentially is that I only work for Cronje & Co. But like you said, I'm pretty flexible. I go into the office because they have a space for me and I'm allowed to use the facilities there. But other than that, I also have a home office where I sit and work and can work all hours of the night or whenever. Because
But what I like with it is you don't have another expense anyway. You don't need another office, and you need to be showing them that you have an office. Actually, I have a question in regards to, just to give our viewers an idea of how long did it take from you to study till you actually now with Cronje and Partners and back in Namibia. So it's not a 2-year plan that people are looking at or a 5-year. If I'm correct, it was more than 10, 15 years.
Geez, it's not quite that long, but I mean, look, and your normal LLB is 4 years. I did a BCom for about 3 years. Then a postgraduate LLB for another 3 years, which I must say I enjoyed studying for 6 years because I feel like I've personally matured a lot during that time. And that's why I understand why certain people are more interested in master's students or something like that. And then it's 2 years of articles in South Africa. It's only about a year here. And then, I mean, in total, I worked another 3.5 years extra in South Africa where I was a junior associate, and only after that. So it's 3.5 plus 2 years plus another 6 years. So yeah, it's actually 10.5, 11 years. You're right. Before I started working as a consultant, before I started, and I can honestly say this, like reaping the rewards of kind of being in charge of myself, where I am trusted enough to do my own thing, to run my own consulting side of things, where I still have supervision in the sense of I can go to Christian with matters where I don't understand them or where I'm struggling with,
which is actually nice in your regard because you still kind of like have a mentor or a person that.
Correct.
I don't want to say mentor right now, but it's deep maybe because that's why you went to university. You learned a lot, obviously, but now working with these people who are a few years in the field already, I just feel often that helps with building you even further within the field.
Yeah.
So, like you just mentioned, it's always a nice thing to have a go-to person to say, listen, I have this issue, what would you do about it? But
exactly.
I'm not saying you should teach me right now, but give me some advice on it,
I actually think mentor is a good name because that was when I mentioned why I resigned in Cape Town. It was one of those things is I was good at what I was doing, but the growth wasn't happening, and I was lacking a mentorship role.
Exactly.
And I wanted to, for instance, just to give you an idea of what I did, is I did more litigation in Cape Town. So that means going to court, arguing, and getting in money for people that aren't paying. And I always had that business interest. I wanted to go more into structuring of businesses, contractual negotiations, and ensuring that rights are protected. Yeah. And that's what was lacking there. And that's what I came to find in Namibia with Christian, where he would mentor me on that because he's extremely well versed on it. And most of the stuff I can do by myself, but it's always great getting a second opinion.
Maybe I can say something to that as well.
Sure.
A lot of the older generation, my Opa, Oma, whoever, they always would say to me, you young people always want to go to a big town, work at a big company, enjoy the high life. But meanwhile, you don't realize you're just a number at these businesses. Yeah. There's not a lot of room to grow as for you in the personal capacity. And that's what a lot of the older generation says, that's what we still have as a power tool in Namibia. It's still small companies, work with them. Income might be a different thing, yes, but you as a person will grow immensely. Yeah.
100% money. And I need to add to that because, like you say, in a large corporate, you're not a number for instance, I wasn't a number to anyone in the Cape Town office, but in we had a national office, and I don't see our head of department every day. So it makes it so much more difficult when you want to make out a case for something, be it, let's say, a pay rise or something like that, just because that person only looks at your numbers. Yeah. Whereas here you have, and we all know windhoek is very relationship-based. We all have relationships. Yeah. And in a smaller firm, that person sees you as a human being and he understands you better as a human being. And I have to add, I'm actually doing better in Namibia than I am doing in South Africa. Even if you just look purely at the numbers, it just has actually been paying off here because people think Cape Town is this great spot, but it's so saturated that everyone will take
business-wise, yes, it's more cutthroat, more difficult. It's hard.
Yeah. It's extremely difficult, and it's so cutthroat. And you know, let's say you apply for a job there, they will offer you it for such a trivial salary, which you can barely survive on. And you can survive on it, but can you really grow your savings? Can you really buy a house in Cape Town? No, because the property market there is ridiculous. So it's all these factors that nobody considers. And if you say, no, but I need more money, they just go, oh, well, next in line. Let's go, you know?
Exactly. 100%. I actually want to go in and touch a bit base on, now that you're in Namibia and working with Cronje and partners, Cronje and Co, right? Yeah, not partners. What is the challenges you are actually facing within Namibian spectrum? I'm not asking here now for your frustrations, but more or less like little things that you've noticed actually.
Little things that I've noticed is people are scared of going to an attorney sometimes. I don't know why. There's maybe a bit of a stigma to it. It's like, oh, this is serious now, and oh, attorneys charge so much, etc. And but I think what people forget is sometimes being proactive can save you a lot of money in the long run. And I can tell you now, litigation and going to court is the most expensive thing to do. So what often bothers me is these one-pager contracts that people sign without thinking it through. I mean,
I think I know exactly what you mean. I did this mistake too, where you have this one-pager contract. It helps now for the quick run, or for the short term, for 1 or 2 months it helps. But what you were saying, read it through. You're not thinking long term. This contract is actually super weak for long term. Yeah.
And I mean, I don't blame anyone. It's your job as a business owner. You've got so much on your plate. You are thinking about. For instance, in this business, let's say you have a contract that you want, we'll just use Pro Studio as an example now. You have a contract and you want to use it for a shoot and you want to hire a photographer. You have to think about getting the photographer there, getting the models there, getting the product there, making sure the venue is available, making sure that the numbers are right. You've got 1,000 things on your mind that when you are signing that contract with the photographer, you just say, okay, photographer, I'm going to pay you 1,000 Rand and you'll take the photos. And then 3 months down the line, the photographer only gives you the edited photos, but actually you wanted the raw images, for instance. And now the photographer says, but wait, the raw images are worth more than $1,000. And that's
the negotiations haven't been sorted out.
Exactly. And that's kind of the mentorship that I see as an attorney for a business. If you come to me, we sit down, we have a coffee, we talk about it. We talk about your concerns, and it actually gives you a chance to also then zoom in and focus on what you actually need from this agreement.
Look, that's also what I really like in you. I can phone you at any moment and say, do you have time for a coffee? And just even for a social chat. Obviously, I understand that are also your work hours. So you do bill for this. But what I mean is I shouldn't be afraid of, I have to go to this legal practice and I have to book a meeting. And have to dress well, and
not at
maybe
all.
I'm getting a spot, maybe not, and who will I face? Will this be like Otopi who's in his 70s maybe, and I'm just very scared. So what I really loved about you guys is one can phone you and say, hey, meet me quickly at, I don't know, Slowtown, and just have a coffee, and the advice you give is so much more value, though. I think there you guys are very more modern thinking. Yeah,
we want to solve problems essentially, and we want practical advice, because it doesn't help you if I rattle off in a bunch of Latin terms and tell you, yes, you can take a re vindicatio in this matter, or whatever. You'll just switch off and I'll lose you completely. The idea is, literally come to me, talk to me, and you should be able to give me a shout and be like, what can we do here? And
exactly.
I give you advice on the fly, and if it gets serious, we sit down, we have a consult, and we solve this problem actually together, because it's just as important that you tell me exactly what you need. For instance, to go back to the old analogy, you need to tell me, I actually really need those raw files, and then I can go, okay, well, we better build into this contract, because it's important. So I think that's just a bit of a frustration. I think some businesses, and even in your personal capacity, you would benefit of just call up an advisor, or just like you would call up a trusted friend. Sometimes just talking about it helps you and gives you those ideas. And spending that bit of money up front on the contract, just securing that it goes smoothly, can save you a big headache at the end of the line, because if you need to go to court and issue a summons, we need to anyway sit down. We anyways need to understand the details. And then it makes it complicated, because we can't just argue the normal contract. Then we need to argue what is implied by this contract, what could have been implied. And it's, unfortunately, with a judicial system, not many people believe in it. I believe in it. It's just a very blunt instrument. It takes a while to be effective sometimes, because you need to go through the motions. You need to issue a summons. The other side needs to get a chance to defend themselves. Because it's a balancing of rights. 100%. You need to hear both parties, and So.
Is there any frustrations in terms of winning new clients in Namibia, perhaps? Or my question on that is, does Cronje and Co. use any social media or internet tools, any platforms to market itself? Or do you still believe most clients come mostly through word of mouth?
What is important to us is that if you put in an attorney into Google, that we pop up, and that is quite important to us. And I must say, I've seen...
Exactly. Obviously, I didn't even actually think this through. When you... because we are more in a creative space, we would obviously pump a lot of stuff on social media. The attorney wouldn't necessarily take selfies in the court case and post those online. So,
that could be quite problematic.
So I think rather having a proper Google search with a proper professional website is the tool.
100%. So, I mean, it's actually that simple. If you are looking for an attorney, what is the first thing you do? You would either ask somebody, who can you recommend, or I'd do a Google search. So I think we pop up either first or second, because we have a pretty decent website. We also recently rebranded. We've got a nice sleek design, which I think helps a lot. And we've actually received a few international instructions where some of those emails look like spam, and you at first think, is this real? And it's pretty high profile clients, and you think, no, this can't be. And you kind of then have a Zoom call or a video call, and it turns out to be real, and it actually helped us quite a lot. Other than that, I think word of mouth is probably our biggest tool at this stage. And we are quite selective about our clients as well, I need to add. So we wouldn't just take anyone. We think about who the client is, whether we want to be associated with the client, whether there's a higher purpose to the matter. We don't want to just do meaningless stuff. And when I mean, do we want to be associated with the client? We don't want to be in press articles linking us to fish rot or something like that. We want nothing to do with that kind of thing. We're quite
avoid it.
We're quite specific about integrity, and then obviously we need to make sure that we make some money out of a matter. So we think about which clients we take, and usually it's word of mouth. People, we do work for one person, and as soon as, if it's successful, obviously, and if it's good, they will recommend us on.
I did a lot already. But I want to actually ask you a bit, who are you actively following? Who are you interested in? What?
It's also another Richard.
Okay.
Richard Branson.
Yeah. Okay.
I find him a huge inspiration. I promise you, if you read his books, they're basically a Bachelor of Commerce degree. I think it's basically a business degree. I've read Screw It, Let's Do It Again, and his autobiography is extremely interesting, Losing My Virginity. What he's done for people, and he kind of encompasses somebody that I would look up to in the sense of, firstly, he hustles extremely hard. He has vision, and he follows that vision, and he executes it perfectly. And he has a lot of integrity because when things went bad, he made sure that he helped those that got screwed over in the end, and he bought back basically shares that were sold at a loss, and where persons put in their entire retirement funds, and in the UK now, and thought they lost everything. He bought back those shares years later, but at the same price or at a profit, and made sure those people, weren't left behind. So,
what was his book called again?
Losing My Virginity.
And the other one, Screw It.
There's Screw It, Let's Do It, and then Screw It, Let's Do It Again.
Yeah, that one. I think I need to check into that one.
I think
it's definitely something that would interest me. I have another question in regards to apps and anything that is online currently in Namibia and trending. Yeah. What I mean with that is, do you make use of the Pay Today app? Do you make use of Lefa app? Do you use Tap a Meal, Chomi Bites? Is that anything you are currently, since you also lived in SA and maybe used Uber there, maybe used Uber Eats?
Yeah.
Is that something you tapped into already, or say, nah, didn't really check it out yet?
No. I love Uber. When I came back to Namibia, I felt pretty stranded. And I happened to meet Malkies at a bit of a networking event, and he explained the whole Lefa concept to me and how he got going, and it was super interesting. Love Lefa, I use it. I do use Pay Today. I'm a sucker for classifieds. I love buying things on a bargain. Other local apps, I need to check on my phone quickly.
Yeah,
maybe.
you can do it. Get out the phone and check it. I think for me personally, what is quite convenient is Pay Today. I use it almost daily if I'm somewhere, especially you often find yourself at a service station just quickly grabbing something, and then you realize, damn, I only have only have card with me and not a lot of cash. So that's when I mostly just say Pay Today. Simple, easy.
Yeah, those are actually pretty much the only local apps that I use.
Okay, let me ask another thought on e-commerce. What are your thoughts on people opening e-commerce websites, meaning like the next online shop that would sell everything, like a kind of a little Amazon of Namibia?
Take a lot.
Yeah, it's like a Take a Lot person. Are you still someone who says, I'd rather tend to SA and just buy it over Take a Lot and kind of struggle around with the shipping and taxes and stuff, import VAT? Or are you like, no, if there's a Namibian site that would work tomorrow where I can get my shit instantly, I would get it there?
I would definitely use a Namibian site. I recently brought some stuff in from South Africa, and it can be a pain, but I must say I happen to work with FB Dutoy Transport and Pro Parcel and Jetex, and those guys helped out quite a lot, but it is a bit more of a mission. I would buy local if I could. I found Namibia lacks, your general Take a Lot or your Amazon. I think there's a Tololi shop on Instagram, which I quite like browsing. I haven't bought anything yet.
I feel often there's also still that, like the site looks great. I think they've got good stuff. The browsing is amazing, the shopping experience. But can I really leave my money there? Is this legit? That's my question always, where I'm like, I know currently there's a girl in the UK who you can ship your stuff to her home address, and she would make sure to send it to you via DHL. So super cool entrepreneurial ideas there, but bring that to Namibia.
Yeah, I must say, I'll mention I have a bit of a vested interest in the one shop where I bought stuff from, and that is Namibia.
Yeah, okay.
Obviously. So I like that there are some shops popping up like Namibia that do specific stuff, and I've bought from them. I know their ordering process. I know they deliver in Namibia, and the shop looks legit. Everything is legit.
So what is it exactly? It's
a local clothing brand. Okay. They sell predominantly shirts, hoodies, sweatshirts, caps, pluckies, phone covers, and essentially it's for it's not supposed to be a tourist brand. It's supposed to be casual but proud of Namibia, love it here, and I want to show this off. They make phenomenal gifts for people overseas, hence why I've bought a few of these items already. Maybe too many. But it's also quality stuff, and I was pleasantly surprised that a local sort of a local brand, a local shop can offer such a good product, and that's why I think it's very much possible.
I've also obviously seen them before. It's really good quality.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I think, and I'm loving that I'm seeing a bit more of it on social media, especially. I'm seeing more clothing brands pop up. I'm seeing specific local shops pop up. I think you see your usual gadget shops, etc. I haven't used too many of those because, like you said, I want to first hear from someone that has used it, or if I'm forced to use it, I will use it. But I'd always want to make sure that there are some references or something that I know it's legit.
Maybe I can pick your brain and take you to something else as well. Do you think there's anything that's currently not available in your space, in the attorney space, that is not online available right now? I'm not asking here for your secrets. You're not supposed to share your business
I got
ventures.
to keep those.
But is there anything that you think there is out there, or...
Look, something I've been thinking about, and I think I can quite easily talk about, because I don't think it's going to happen that quickly unless, because Namibia is a very referral-based economy, especially for something like that. But I think, and we started doing that, I would like to see a bit more of online advice being available. So what I'm talking about is I want more easily accessible online resources. Like if you go to our website, you can actually click on trust advice. You can click what is the tax like. And I'm thinking specifically, I would like to even take it one step further, that you can get online advice from someone, sort of like a chatbot.
Like a chatbot, yeah.
Exactly.
A chat room, but
100%, yeah.
But to maybe, I'm even thinking it further now also, where maybe I can write you, it'll say for $5 I will answer your question, or for $10 for the next 20 minutes I'm available for you. So I don't need to see you at Slowtown and first know you. I can actually just be a random person. Maybe an idea.
I would like to see a bit more of that, because I think you see these Facebook groups where everyone asks legal questions.
Exactly.
And
you have a ton of people who have no advice, no clue actually what they're talking. And you're like, okay, who should I trust in this chat?
It's a bit of a gamble sometimes. Which one is it? Is it yay or nay?
And the profile pictures all looks good. It looks like attorney, lawyer, attorney,
Yeah.
Cool. I have another question in regards to what you're passionate about outside of being an attorney.
Easily my biggest passion, which I have neglected in the last few months, but I'm slowly making sure that I assign more time to it, is rock climbing. And I'm actually the vice chair of the Mountain Club of South Africa, but the Namibia sector.
Okay.
So what it is it's basically just a club for appreciation of nature, hiking, rock climbing. We focus a lot on the rock climbing. Because it's quite a small community. We've got about 40 members or 50 members. All of them are lovely people, and we get together a few times a year. Last year was a bit difficult with COVID, but essentially we go to Spitzkoppe and you just go camp out, and you have a big fire in the evening, but during the day everyone goes and rock climbs there, because there are a bunch of...
I must chip in quickly here. To the viewers, you can't see it, but that explains why your bucky is pimped like that. When Richard arrived for the interview today, I thought, why is this man actually driving such an awesome bucky that's pimped out? Because he secretly goes camping and hiking and...
you need to escape, you know?
But is that also something you use to relax, to unwind a bit, and just to get out of the city?
100%. Money, it's something I started about 5 years ago in Cape Town. Obviously, I was single at the stage, and I wanted to impress some girls, and they invited us to go rock climbing, my flatmate at the time and me. And Alma and I sat there and we thought, damn, I can't go to this rock climbing gym and not know how to climb. You know, these girls from his work are going to check us out, and we need to impress them. So we secretly booked an introduction to rock climbing course with the local gym in Cape Town. Did the course and loved it, man. It's basically it's artificial walls with grips, and they're color coded, and you follow routes up. And what happens is you get different grades of routes, and the higher the number, the more difficult the grade. And essentially, we did our introduction to rock climbing course. The next week, climbed with the girls, loved it. And I think the week thereafter, I bought all the gear, basically, so that we can climb in the gym. Climbed in the gym a lot. And then if you think rock climbing as a sport is cool, once you go outdoors, it's really next level because you have beautiful views, etc.
Exactly.
And you're like up there, and it's actually like solving a puzzle. So the nice thing about rock climbing is, like you said, it takes away your stress because it's very difficult to think about that agreement or that stress of
While
work
you're
that you
also
have
hanging
while
on
you're
one
hanging from a cliff, and you're attached to a rope, but you are still scared.
Yeah, your instincts kick in, and you're actually forget about.
So it focuses you to it forces you to completely focus on what you're doing, and that is rock climbing, just to make sure you don't fall off.
Yeah. Cool stuff. I have another question in regard to your business life again and to your whole venture. Can you give us like your biggest lesson learned throughout the last, say now 10, 12 years that you've been on this journey?
Wow, biggest lesson.
Or even biggest lesson, biggest failure perhaps as well. Something that you realized, this was close, but now...
Easily the one that stands out for me is everyone makes mistakes. All the time I make mistakes. But it's not the mistake that counts. It's what you do afterwards. It really is. It's how are you going to fix this? That's the first question. Mm-hmm. And there's almost an unwritten rule, and it's something that I learned in my articles again, because I had a pretty difficult boss. And the idea is, if there is a mistake, think it through first. How are you going to solve it? And you might not have the solution, but if you go to your superior or to somebody else, if you can at least present a solution, it makes it so much easier to actually come up with an actual solution together. So that's probably my biggest lesson, because unexpected things happen. I think in everyone's business that happens. Exactly. So it's about how you react to the mistake.
Do you sometimes still get the feeling that when you walk into a big court case or something that, damn, I should have prepared just 2 hours longer, or nah, I think I know. Is there always a feeling in the back of your head was like, did I prepare enough? Or
I think the butterflies always set in a bit, especially when you, let's say, like you say, when you walk into a courtroom or when you walk into a very important meeting, you get the butterflies in your stomach and you think, did I really prepare?
Because why I'm asking this is also because you obviously, when you watch TV and you watch the movies, you always have this court case scene with this lawyer being super fancy dressed, and he's so confident. He just smacks down his documents, and now he's just gonna kill his opponent. And often I feel like, but this dude not maybe also insecure a little bit inside. I don't know if that is also a feeling you guys sometimes have, or if it's in the back of the mind, or would you say, no, if I'm prepared super 110%, I'm prepared, I know the facts are the facts, it's gonna be a simple job.
I think, look, we prepare matters quite well, and I make sure that I'm 100% comfortable with everything, and I still will get input from somebody more senior if there's anything that concerns me, or will run a risky idea by somebody else. Mm-hmm. You're right. Going into meetings, I can't look weak as an attorney. I can't look like I don't know what I'm doing. So I'm often the nice guy, but my motto for meetings usually is firm but polite. So I will always be polite in a meeting, but I will always be firm, and I will always be confident in my case, unless something really ridiculous happens. And even there, we actually use different methods to prepare for that, just to prepare sort of your own mindset for the meeting, or for clients and meetings in general. So what we often do is we have a huge emphasis on reading books at Cronje & Co. And we actually, talking about apps, we use certain apps like Blinkist just to read books. And it's mostly motivational books or self-help books.
Isn't Blinkist also right now the 10-minute in a nutshell?
Correct. Yeah. So it gives you a book in 10 minutes, and it kind of just teaches you the most learnable moments. I just happen to really like it. You get other apps like Audible or Scribd or Scribed or something. Mm-hmm. I just enjoy it because every morning I listen to a quick book, and I can still go and read a book for pleasure or for learning something, but I get that quick snippet, and that idea vests for the day, and I'll think about it and kind of roll it around in my mind. But there are books like How to Win Friends and Influence People. It's quite something interesting, or 7 Habits of Effective People, or books like that kind of just teach you how to engage people, how to engage someone that you don't know, and how to deal with somebody that's overconfident, somebody that's aggressive, how to deal with negotiations specifically, because that's what we do.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, look, I actually yesterday had somebody on the phone who was extremely aggressive, and when I tried to just engage him on a completely human level, he just shut me down and would not speak to me any further. And you get some people that you just can't talk to, or that have some sort of bias against you. But usually you try you try a different technique to sort it out. Yeah.
Okay. I want to ask another question in regards to a holy shit moment that happened. Any story where you noticed, shoo, this just happened in my career, in my life? Is that something positive? You can even something negative, something that's like really shook, like really awakened you.
The other day I was in a very delicate settlement meeting, if I can put it that way. And it's a bit scary and holy shit. It's a bit of a merger of the two questions. And there was a partner of the other law firm present, and it was a really trivial issue, and it was a trivial matter, and it wasn't about a lot of money. And I think both of our clients were they were hard asses, as you put it, and they don't want to settle, and they just want to fight this out. And I think it was just flexing who's got more of attorney power. And I was just like, okay, let's just sort this out. And I really wanted, like I said, and something in law that you need to know is a bad settlement is better than a good judgment or good litigation. A bad settlement is always better. It's cheaper, etc. But anyway, so I was really pushing for the settlement, and I really wanted to get to, what is the issue here? Because we're talking about spreadsheets, and my client is claiming this hasn't been installed, and they are like claiming that has, and they need to get payment, and they want payment now. And now this partner of this other law firm had previously already interrupted me on the phone a few times. And it's one of my pet peeves, if I'm mid-sentence and you just interrupt me. So I kind of held it together, a couple of phone calls already. And then during that meeting, his client interrupts me, and she's aggressive as hell. He interrupts me like 2 or 3 times. And I think by the third time, I completely lost it. And I just said, can you please stop interrupting me? It's my biggest pet peeve. It's just completely disrespectful. And that was the first time I had an outburst like that in a meeting. And I
think it has, I can see it with myself, it has something to do with us also getting a bit older. Or what I really mean with that is, yes, I don't want to take everyone's shit anymore every time. Yeah. So at some point you have to let it out, because it is annoying me too. Yeah. And after the meeting, you feel super frustrated just because you didn't mention it. Yeah. Whereas in the meeting, yes, it might seem a little bit unpolite perhaps, but you've definitely got everyone's attention.
Exactly. So I think in that meeting, for instance, the dynamic was I thought about apologizing. I didn't realize, would this impact the case? Would it impact settlement negotiations? But ultimately, I actually think it was good, because especially the other attorney's client realized, because he interrupted me thereafter again, and he immediately realized and said, I'm so sorry, please. And they took me serious then, and they took the meeting serious, and they realized we're going to take this matter serious. And I think it's pretty much settled.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Let's move on. I don't want to keep you too long on that. I actually want to move into a bit of a speed round. So that's just a quick yes or no. Give us a one-liner answer on. This is very in regard to you.
I reserve my rights, though. Hey?
Yeah, you do. You definitely do. I wanted to ask, what are you consuming on YouTube right now? Anything.
My favorite is Mark Rober. He's an engineer that worked on the NASA robot, and the NASA robot, which is on Mars. And he's an engineer, and he's famous for building the glitter bomb, which is, in America, you have your porch pirates. They steal packages from your porch. Yeah. And he built a glitter bomb with phones in it that throws glitter. So when they steal the packaging and they take it home, as soon as they open it up, it throws glitter all over the place. It literally spins. There are 4 phones recording every angle. And then I think the world's strongest fart spray gets released. And then it plays all kinds of police sounds and radios, and it is just funny.
And then he uploads that clip on YouTube?
Yeah, it uploads it immediately on the cloud, plus it tracks it, so they usually throw it out, so he gets most of his boxes back. He's hilarious, it's educational, and he usually builds really fun things and explains science or engineering a little, in a way that us lawyers who have no idea about engineering can actually understand. And it's a really, really fun YouTube channel. I highly recommend it.
I will definitely check it out. I wanted to ask, how much do you sleep?
I sleep my 8 hours a night usually.
Cool.
Sleep is very important. I've believed in it since varsity.
Do you follow friends on social media or rather just business people and attorneys?
I used to try and keep it quite personal and friends only. With Windhoek being such a small place, they can overlap. So I do a bit of both. I don't mind if I have business on my social media. I just do try and not upload something that is completely...
So you personally don't use social media so much, right?
Yeah, I just use Instagram. Facebook, again, I only use for classifieds to buy stuff.
Yeah.
It's just an addiction, I think.
Actually, on that regard, how much time do you spend on Instagram?
I've tried limiting it.
Does it consume you, especially Reels? Does it catch you off guard and you're like, it's going to be another 20 minutes and this Reel, I'm being consumed here?
Not yet, actually.
Okay.
I've actually kept it quite casual, and I try to interact often on Instagram as well, so that keeps me quite busy. Yeah. So
sports, gym, yes or no?
I haven't been gymming. I believe is the question: do I believe in gym or do I?
Yeah, and if you're, but I think you're anyways an outdoor guy, a kind of sporty guy who does climbing. So
I love the outdoors. I want to join a CrossFit gym just to also have a social aspect to it, so that you work out and you get to chat with like-minded people and socialize a little bit. Yeah.
Cool. What motto do you personally live by?
No such thing as a free lunch.
Okay.
Or always be kind to the lunch lady. Essentially, the idea behind it is sometimes when something looks free or it looks cheap or something, you end up actually paying in other ways for it. So I believe in quality products. I believe in quality services. I believe in actually building quality friendships, everything, And always be kind to the lunch lady. I think one needs to be kind to everyone in business, even the lunch lady that serves you food, because ultimately she decides how big your portion is going to be or if she's going to spit in your food.
Yes. Average working hours per day?
I would say currently a good 8 or 9 hours.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do you want to ask or say? Anything, like anything to our audience?
Hire a lawyer.
Okay, you make use of Lefa, you mentioned that already. Anyone you could suggest for another podcast of sessions?
Another podcast of sessions. I think Helga from Namibia would be interesting. I also quite like Richard from Urban Friction, the climbing gym at Marua Mall. I actually had somebody in mind and I forgot him now.
We'll get back to it, don't worry. Last question, or second last question I actually have is you get to ask the question of the day to our viewers.
Should I ask a question of the day?
The question of the day, something that is on your mind constantly. I mentioned it yesterday in another podcast. I mentioned my question that I have so much in my head is we have so much sun. Why don't use the solar power to finally get Tesla vehicles to Namibia, sell electric cars and just make $1 billion? Should I do it or not? Yeah, no.
100% do it. My question of the day. What's the next big business opportunity in Namibia? Because I think there are tons, in my opinion. And that's one of the reasons why I ended up staying. I think there are huge opportunities here. I want to know what the next big one is for Namibia. I think there are some around.
Okay. Now I still wanted to know just some last advice for you, but it's more advice to our listeners. What you learned over the last 10 years of working in the space, getting through university, becoming a lawyer, becoming an attorney. Any advice you can give to our listeners that affects them?
Look, we all know the generic advice of you got to work hard and you have to put in the work to get somewhere in life. You got to be able to do it and you got to be willing to do it. But I think it's also important not to underestimate a clear mindset and a good mindset. And that includes getting enough sleep. Because whilst I believe when you need to work late and you need to work through the night, 100% do it. We've all done it. But make sure that you get enough sleep. Make sure that you have personal interests as well. Make sure that you consume books or literature or audio books or whatever, or even conversations with friends that teach you and that make you grow further and that push you out of your comfort zone. Because I think a balanced individual is worth double as much as an unbalanced individual that is just about working and just about, only working 16-hour days and so focused on work. I think we humans work better, work smarter rather than harder. It really is that. And I think your well-being is part of that.
Is there any inspiration you got out of the Richard Branson books that you can mention?
The inspiration that I basically got from Richard Branson and people like somebody else that I'm inspired by is like Mark Cuban, etc. These are all people that are highly wealthy. Is they essentially never give up, and they get an idea, they analyze it, they prepare, they make sure is it viable, and then they kind of don't stop. They make sure it happens. And it's not that they listen to sound advice. So if somebody who they trust tells them this is not going to work, they also drop it and they try a different approach, or they try a different idea. But they do it properly from the beginning. They make sure they do their research, they see the idea, they execute it, and do it 100%.
Cool. Thanks, man.
Thanks, Money.
Yeah, I had to get you now. That's the sweet spot. But yeah, I think I'm almost through all my questions. I'm not sure how long we are in, but I want to say thank you for being here. Thanks for having a bit of time to us to chat about podcasting and about your attorney stuff. So yeah, guys, thanks again for watching. I'll link everything in the description down below of Cronje and Co, but also of Richard's private account, so you can find him. No, but if you guys are really interested in a lawyer-based company in Namibia, please do have a look at them. And yeah, Richard, thanks again for joining for the talk. Oh,
thanks.
We can have still a private chat now.
Without any guarantees, though.
Oh, okay. Thanks, Richard.
Thanks, guys. Cheers.